What if the stubborn belly fat you've been battling has nothing to do with how intensely you exercise, how cleanly you eat, or how disciplined your mornings are, but instead hinges entirely on what happens after dinner when no one is watching? The hours after your last meal quietly dictate whether your body spends the night burning fat or holding on to it for another day. Most people assume fat loss is earned in the gym or through fasting the next morning. But the truth is far less obvious and far more powerful, because the most crucial metabolic window doesn't start with sunrise. It opens when the sun goes down. The moments right after dinner, while you scroll through your phone, watch TV, or mentally check out from the day, determine if your body switches into deep repair mode or locks fat into storage. And that switch often comes down to a single choice most people never even realize they're making. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your body is naturally designed to burn fat at night, not during the day. While you sleep, your brain still consumes energy, your heart keeps beating, your liver continues its work, and your cells begin a complex process of repair and detoxification. That energy comes from somewhere, and under normal natural conditions, it comes from stored fat, particularly the fat around your belly and liver. But this only happens if insulin, the hormone that regulates energy storage, drops low enough to unlock those fat reserves. If insulin remains elevated through the evening, your body never flips the switch. Instead of burning fat overnight, it stays in storage mode, hoarding energy it never gets a chance to use. And insulin doesn't remain high just because of dinner itself. It stays elevated because of what happens afterward. Late night snacks, sugary desserts, or even a few bites here and there silently instruct your pancreas to keep insulin elevated. As long as insulin is high, fat burning is entirely blocked. That's why you can eat cleanly all day, exercise regularly, and still wake up feeling bloated, heavy, and inflamed. Your body never entered its nighttime fat-burning state. It never got the signal that it's safe to draw on stored energy. Think of your metabolism as a hybrid engine with two power sources. One relies on the fuel from food, and the other taps into stored energy. As long as food keeps coming in, even in small amounts, the engine never switches to the stored energy. It has no reason to. Only when food intake ceases and insulin begins to fall does your system automatically transition to fat-burning mode. This isn't about willpower, it's biology. And for most people, the problem isn't overeating, it's never stopping early enough to let the shift happen. That's why the hours after dinner matter more than most people realize. At night, insulin should naturally fall, growth hormone should rise, and your body should enter repair mode. Growth hormone is one of the most potent fat-burning and tissue repair hormones you possess, but it only surges when insulin is low and sleep is deep. If insulin is still elevated from late eating, growth hormone never rises. Your body remains in daytime mode throughout the night, storing fat instead of burning it, repairing nothing, and leaving you to wake tired and foggy. The goal, then, isn't eating less, it's eating at the right time. Finishing dinner at least 3 hours before bed gives insulin a chance to rise, complete its job, and then fall naturally. That drop is what unlocks fat-burning mode. If you sleep around 10 p.m., your last bite should land around 7 p.m. This small adjustment sets off a chain reaction. Digestion winds down, blood sugar stabilizes, insulin falls, fat stores unlock, and your body quietly begins using them while you sleep. Timing alone isn't enough though. What you eat at dinner dictates how quickly insulin can drop. Late night carbohydrates, especially refined ones like bread, pasta, rice, sugary desserts, or sweet drinks, spike insulin and prolong its elevation. Even if you stop eating early, these foods can delay fat burning deep into the night. Protein, on the other hand, stabilizes blood sugar and provides building blocks for overnight repair. Healthy fats promote satiety without spiking insulin and help calm the nervous system. Non-starchy vegetables provide fiber, magnesium, and potassium, supporting the liver as it transitions into detox and fat-burning mode. A dinner built around protein, healthy fats, and vegetables works entirely differently from a carb-heavy meal. It's not about restriction, it's about sending the right signals. When insulin rises gradually, instead of spiking, it falls faster. And when it falls faster, fat burning starts earlier. That means more hours spent in burn mode overnight without any extra effort on your part. Even more critical is what happens in the 10 to 15 minutes after dinner, a step almost everyone skips. Light movement after a meal may seem insignificant, but metabolically, it's powerful. Muscle contraction, even gentle, allows glucose to enter cells without insulin, clearing sugar from the bloodstream faster. Insulin doesn't have to stay elevated as long, and the fat-burning switch flips sooner. This is an exercise in the traditional sense. A short walk, light stretching, pacing around the kitchen, or tidying up can activate this second pathway for glucose clearance. Studies show that even a 10-minute post-dinner walk significantly reduces blood sugar spikes, especially for those with insulin resistance. Faster glucose clearance sets the stage for overnight fat burning. Without movement, glucose lingers, insulin remains high, and fat stays locked. With just a few minutes of gentle activity, your body naturally shifts gears. No gym required, no sweat needed, just alignment with how your physiology is designed to work. But even with perfect timing, a clean, protein and vegetable-focused dinner and gentle post-meal movement, there's another factor most people overlook, and it can make or break the system: digestion. As long as your digestive system is working overtime late into the night, your body can't fully shift into repair mode. Digestion demands energy, blood flow, enzymes, bile, and attention from your liver and pancreas. When this process drags on, everything else, fat burning, tissue repair, detoxification, has to wait. Heavy meals, cold desserts, alcohol, or food that isn't properly chewed extend digestion far longer than necessary. When digestion runs late, cortisol levels remain elevated, sleep becomes lighter, inflammation persists, and fat burning slows. Instead of resting and repairing, your body is still actively processing fuel. That bloated, uncomfortable feeling you brush off at night is a signal that your system hasn't fully shifted. And it often shows up the next morning as fatigue, stiffness, and stubborn belly weight. That's why simplicity, warmth, and digestion-friendly habits matter so much at night. Warm herbal teas like chamomile or ginger soothe the gut. Bitter flavors, such as lemon or a splash of vinegar, support bile flow. Chewing your food thoroughly reduces the digestive workload. Small, subtle changes like these don't feel dramatic, but they determine whether your body can rest or remain stressed through the night. Once digestion finally winds down, something remarkable begins about an hour into deep sleep. Your brain signals a surge of growth hormone. This is when real overnight fat loss occurs. Growth hormone signals your body to use stored fat for fuel, repair tissues, and clean up cellular damage. But it only rises when insulin is low, the room is dark, and the nervous system feels safe. Bright lights, glowing screens, or stress can keep melatonin low, preventing growth hormone from rising. When that signal doesn't arrive, the repair crew never shows up. Your body spends the night in limbo, neither fully awake nor fully repairing, and fat burning is stalled. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. A late dessert, an after-dinner drink, or endless scrolling in bed can all block the hormonal cascade needed for overnight fat loss. One sugary bite can undo an entire day of healthy choices. One alcoholic drink can halt liver fat metabolism for hours. Even a bright screen can delay melatonin production, pushing growth hormone out of reach. The solution isn't willpower, it's understanding signals and timing. Once you see fat loss as a result of aligning your behaviors with your body's natural rhythm, the evening stops feeling restrictive and starts feeling empowering. You're no longer avoiding food, You're preparing your body to do what it's built to do. This brings us to the most important part: creating a repeatable nighttime rhythm. This isn't a diet, and it doesn't require perfection. It's a system designed to communicate clearly with your biology. When the rhythm is consistent, fat loss stops being a struggle and begins to happen automatically. Your body isn't stubborn, it's protective. Its primary question each night is simple: is it safe to release stored energy, or should it hold on a little longer? The answer comes from the signals you send after dinner. Clear, consistent cues prompt the body to respond almost immediately. Some people notice they wake up feeling lighter after just a few nights, not because fat has vanished overnight, but because inflammation dropped, water retention eased, insulin fell, and the body finally spent the night in burn and repair mode instead of storage and survival mode. Let's make this practical. The first signal you send is certainty. When you finish dinner and truly mean it, no bites, no taste, no liquid calories, your metabolism receives clarity. This clarity allows insulin to drop instead of hovering. Hovering insulin keeps the body confused, and a confused metabolism never burns fat efficiently. A clear end to eating tells your liver, pancreas, and brain that the day's intake is complete and it's time to switch gears. That's when the liver begins its most important nighttime work. During the day, it handles incoming fuel. At night, it manages outgoing fuel, releasing stored glucose first, then turning to fat once glucose runs low. But if insulin remains elevated, the liver is blocked from releasing either. It's like trying to drain a sink while the faucet is still running, nothing clears. The moment insulin drops, the drain opens and fat finally becomes available. Many people unknowingly slow this process even further. Even if they stop eating early, they collapse on the couch and remain completely inactive for hours. Inactive muscles rely entirely on insulin to clear glucose. When muscles move, even gently, they pull sugar out of the blood independently of insulin. This small detail, light movement after dinner, is why post-meal activity is so potent. It isn't about burning calories, it's about clearing fuel so insulin can step aside. And once insulin steps aside, the body doesn't hesitate. Stored fat becomes accessible, the brain shifts its fuel sources, inflammation begins to subside, and hunger hormones quiet down. That's why people who incorporate even 10 minutes of gentle walking after dinner often report better sleep. Within days, the system finally clears itself. Movement isn't just mechanical, it's neurological. Gentle activity signals the nervous system that the day is winding down safely. There's no threat, no urgency, no reason to stay alert. That alone lowers cortisol, a major blocker of nighttime fat loss. Elevated cortisol raises blood sugar, which in turn raises insulin, and fat burning shuts down once again. A short, calm walk after dinner does more than clear glucose. It calms the entire stress response, setting the stage for efficient overnight fat loss. Even when you get timing, meal composition, and movement right, digestion remains the final determining factor. If your stomach is bloated, heavy, or prone to reflux when you lie down, your system stays on high alert. Digestion competes directly with repair, and the body can't do both efficiently at the same time. That's why the texture, temperature, and pace of your evening meal matter more than most people realize. Large, cold, or rush meals keep digestion active for hours. Warm, well-chewed, simple meals digest faster, allowing your system to clear and switch into repair mode. Once digestion is complete, your nervous system finally shifts from sympathetic mode, the fight or flight state, to parasympathetic mode, which is all about rest, repair, and recovery. This is where fat burning truly happens. When your body is calm and rested, insulin is low, growth hormone can surge, and stored fat becomes the primary energy source. But if digestion drags on, the nervous system remains on high alert, and none of these processes operate efficiently. This is why that bloated feeling you ignore at night can appear as stubborn weight and fatigue in the morning. It's not random. It's a delayed consequence of a system that never fully shut down. Warmth is another subtle yet powerful signal. Warm herbal teas, warm lighting, and even a warm shower tell the body that the day is ending, that it's safe to relax, and that repair can begin. Conversely, cold desserts, icy drinks, or bright screens send conflicting signals, keeping the system alert when it should be unwinding. These small environmental cues matter far more than most people realize. They prime the body to transition smoothly from food processing mode to repair and fat burning mode. And then there's sleep itself, not just duration but timing. Most growth hormone is released in the first few hours of deep sleep, which occurs earlier in the night. Going to bed too late can mean missing the body's prime repair window. Even if you sleep 8 hours, delaying bedtime can prevent the body from fully accessing its peak fat burning and repair cycles. Temperature plays a role here as well. Cooler rooms subtly nudge metabolism toward fat use. Brown fat, which is a calorie-burning type of fat, becomes more active and energy is expended simply to maintain body temperature. This isn't extreme cold exposure. It's just creating an environment that encourages the body to adapt and burn energy rather than signal comfort and storage. Consistency is the final piece of the puzzle. Your body thrives on patterns. The more predictable your evenings are, the faster your metabolism adapts. When dinner ends at the same time most nights, insulin rhythms stabilize. Routine post-meal movement improves glucose control. Consistent sleep allows hormones to align, and when your hormones are in sync, fat loss becomes automatic, almost effortless. Trying to chase perfection, however, backfires. The body doesn't need flawless nights, it needs reliable ones. A few good signals repeated consistently beat a perfect night, followed by sporadic habits. Once the body trusts a rhythm, resistance fades. Hunger calms, cravings diminish, and energy stabilizes, not because of willpower, but because the system feels safe enough to let go of stored energy. This is where mornings begin to transform. Wakefulness arrives without intense hunger. Blood sugar remains steady, and the desire to snack disappears. If you choose to fast in the morning, it becomes effortless. Why? Because the work was done the night before. Fat was already mobilized, insulin already dropped, and repair processes already began. This is how fat loss quietly accelerates, not by adding new rules, but by removing friction. The most important realization here is that belly fat isn't stubborn because your body's broken or because it's evil. It's protective. It stays stored because the body hasn't been shown that it's safe to release it. Once you create that safety consistently during the evening, the body responds with surprising speed. This is where the mental pressure eases. Once you understand that your body isn't an enemy to fight, the process becomes sustainable. You don't need perfect nights or rigid rules. You need a rhythm your body can trust. Long-term fat loss never comes from force, it comes from alignment. Alignment is achieved through small, repeated choices. Each evening is an opportunity to send your body a clear signal: the day is complete, resources are available, and it is safe to repair. When this message is consistent, metabolism relaxes, and fat loss becomes a natural byproduct, not a battle. The most effective protocol is gentle, repeatable, and sustainable. Dinner ends early enough for insulin to fall naturally. Meals support blood sugar stability. Post-meal movement clears glucose efficiently. Digestion winds down smoothly. Lights dim, screens fade, and sleep arrives before midnight. These cues, although subtle, communicate directly with the nervous system. They aren't hacks, they're the signals your body has been waiting for. Importantly, you don't have to implement all of this at once. Trying to change everything at the same time often backfires because the body doesn't respond well to sudden chaos, even if the chaos is healthy. Instead, focus on one anchor habit that can be maintained even on your worst day. Maybe it's finishing dinner 3 hours before bed. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk after eating. Maybe it's turning off screens an hour before sleep. Pick one and let it become automatic. Once that habit locks in, other behaviors naturally fall into place without effort. Stop eating late, and sleep improves. Improve sleep, and cravings fade. Better dinner choices stabilize insulin, and fat loss begins quietly in the background. Momentum is built not by pushing harder, but by removing resistance one layer at a time. Mindset also plays a crucial role. If these habits are approached as punishment, the nervous system remains tense, and tense systems hold fat. But when viewed as protection and care, the body responds differently. Skipping dessert isn't deprivation. It's understanding what it costs your body the next day. Walking after dinner isn't to burn calories, it's to clear glucose. Going to bed earlier isn't because you're old. It's because that's when repair and fat burning are optimized. Experiencing the payoff, waking lighter, clearer, less inflamed, reduces the need for motivation. The body becomes the reinforcement. Results speak quietly, consistently, and powerfully. To make this practical, think of lifestyle in phases. Evenings are for closure. Nights are for repair. Mornings are for clarity. And days are for nourishment and movement. When these phases are respected, the body self-regulates. Long-term success doesn't come from willpower, which is loud and exhausting. Systems are quiet and reliable. Once your evening system is in place, decisions don't need to be renegotiated each night. The choice has already been made. That mental freedom alone can accelerate fat loss more than any new diet or workout ever could. Now, here's the soft commitment you can make tonight. Not a challenge, not a streak, but a gentle agreement with yourself. Treat the hours after dinner as sacred. Protect them. Shape them. Allow them to belong to recovery instead of stimulation. Try this for a few nights with curiosity, not expectation. Notice how your sleep changes. Observe how mornings feel. Pay attention to how your body responds when it finally receives the space it's been quietly asking for. This approach isn't about pressure, it's about understanding. It's about replacing struggle with clarity. Once you recognize that fat loss is less about force and more about alignment, everything starts to click. You're not forcing the body to burn fat. You're creating the conditions in which it naturally does. You stop interrupting the process. You stop pushing against your biology. Instead, you guide it, and the results arrive quietly but consistently. Even small adjustments, finishing dinner on time, moving after eating, dimming lights, maintaining consistent sleep compound into a rhythm your body trusts. And when that rhythm is established, fat loss becomes a byproduct of living in alignment rather than a daily battle of discipline. Think about it this way. Every evening, your body makes a choice. Is it safe to release stored energy, or should it hold on? That decision happens quietly based on the signals you send after dinner. Once those signals are clear and consistent, your body responds almost immediately. In just a few nights, you may wake feeling lighter not because fat magically vanished, but because inflammation decreased, water retention eased, insulin dropped, and the body finally spent the night in burn and repair mode rather than storage and survival mode. This is the subtle power of signaling your biology correctly. Clarity is key. When you finish dinner without extra bites, snacks, or sweetened beverages, you give your metabolism the message it needs. Hovering insulin, which keeps your system confused, finally falls. The liver, pancreas, and brain understand that food intake is complete. The liver switches roles. During the day, it handles incoming fuel. At night, it manages outgoing fuel, first releasing stored glucose and then shifting to fat once glucose is depleted. Elevated insulin blocks this process entirely, but the moment insulin drops, the drain opens and fat can finally flow. This is the difference between a night stuck in storage mode and one spent burning fat effortlessly. Movement after dinner further accelerates this process. Muscles pull glucose out of the bloodstream independently of insulin. That small detail, walking, stretching, or even standing and tidying, facilitates faster glucose clearance, allowing insulin to step aside. Once insulin drops, the body doesn't hesitate. Stored fat becomes available, inflammation eases, hunger hormones quiet down, and sleep quality improves. Gentle movement also signals the nervous system that the day is ending safely, lowering cortisol and calming stress. Cortisol itself is a significant blocker of nighttime fat loss because it elevates blood sugar, which in turn keeps insulin high. A brief, calm walk after dinner addresses multiple barriers simultaneously: glucose, insulin, cortisol, and nervous system readiness, all without intense effort or gym workouts. Digestion continues to play a subtle but crucial role. Large, rushed, or cold meals prolong digestive activity, keeping the body alert and preventing the nervous system from entering full repair mode. Warm, well-chewed, simply prepared meals digest faster, allowing your system to clear and switch into repair mode smoothly. This clearance signals the body to relax, so parasympathetic activity can dominate. Fat burning, tissue repair, detoxification, and growth hormone release occur optimally during this state. If digestion drags, sleep becomes lighter, growth hormone production is delayed, and fat burning slows dramatically. Sleep timing and environment are equally important. Most growth hormone release occurs during the early part of deep sleep. Going to bed too late or sleeping in a hot room disrupts this process. Cooler temperatures, dim lighting, and reduced screen exposure help create a safe, restorative environment for repair and fat-burning hormones to peak. These environmental cues work quietly with your biology, optimizing overnight fat loss without additional effort. Consistency is the final secret. Reliable evening routines, regular meal timing, habitual post-dinner movement, and consistent sleep create patterns your body can trust. The more predictable these behaviors, the faster the metabolism adapts, the smoother the insulin response, and the more efficiently fat is mobilized overnight. You don't need perfection. A series of repeated, reliable cues beats an occasional flawless night. Once your body trusts the pattern, cravings fade, energy stabilizes, and fat loss happens automatically. Finally, mindset transforms everything. Treat these habits as protection and care, not punishment. Skipping late-night sugar isn't deprivation, it's signaling safety to your body. Walking after dinner isn't about burning calories, it's about clearing glucose and calming the nervous system. Going to bed earlier isn't about age, it's about aligning with your body's natural repair window. Experiencing the benefits, waking lighter, less bloated, clearer, and more energized reduces reliance on external motivation. Your body becomes the reinforcement. The results speak quietly but powerfully, reinforcing the cycle of alignment without struggle.